This is Niels on Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, and some crystallized osmium. Be kind, helpful, and grateful because it's better than being a jerk. Making some tea right now. Don't have anything lined up as far as videos to show y'all. I just figured no one else was live, so I'd go live. Because that's the kind of guy I am. And actually, I do have some things to say and some things to talk about. I noticed a couple about 10 days ago, Trump's DEA leader or agency head is proceeding with decriminalizing medical marijuana, or marijuana, not medical marijuana. And that actually is good for one stock in particular out there that I know of. So since the head of the DEA is going to look to decriminalize marijuana, Trump can fulfill his campaign promise from last term that he didn't do to make medical marijuana. What's up, Jeffro? Saturday Night Live, indeed. I'm not as funny, but those guys are all fucking half dead anyhow, so they're not funny now anyhow. They were probably at Epstein's Island. So. But anyhow, yeah, so that's going to clear the way for Trump to be able to make it legal for national medical marijuana. And when he does that, there's certain medical marijuana stocks that have been on the market for 20 some years on the stock market that have been underperforming, or well, definitely underperforming, that will jump. And right now, one of them is at 0.00025. That's how low the stock is. You can get like 100,000 shares for $30. And this stock's been on the stock market for like 24 years. Its opening up IPO was $340 24 years ago. It's been underperforming, definitely underperforming for at least 15 years, which is kind of bizarre because typically the rule of the stock market of Wall Street is underperforming stocks that are companies that are underperforming for 5 years or longer. They get taken off because it affects the index in a negative way. Yeah. It's coming. Like I threw $30 at this, got 100,000 shares, and by the end of the year, medical marijuana is going to be federally legal. And trust me, those stocks that are medical marijuana stocks that are actually in the market right now, they're going to jump. And I'm just mentioning this one because it is at its all-time low. So the only direction it has to go up is up. The only direction it has to go is up, and that is. Let me put it down here in print. Yeah, basically. That one right there. Every spare penny I have, I'm throwing at that one because, like I said, it's opening up IPO back in 2001. It was at like, I think, $3,100. What's up, Zardos? And, $340, I think, was opening up IPO 24 years ago. And now it's at like less than 1/3, a quarter of a freaking quarter of a penny, and it's still listed on the stock exchange. So it's definitely got some upward action. It's a speculative, but like I said, Trump's DEA administration leader is looking at decriminalizing marijuana. And once that happens, Trump did make a promise last time he was president, to make medical marijuana legal nationwide. What's up, Snooks? So when that happens, that stock will skyrocket. So I would suggest non-financial advice to be speculative and take $20 or $30 and throw it at that and see if you're not happy by the end of the year. Because that's a good play. It's a good play to have. Another good one would be Clean Air Metals, but that's just because I'm a big platinum fan and it's the newest platinum miner on the planet. Yes, it could pay, especially since I do a lot of research. I did a lot of research on this one, and it's a good call, in my opinion. totally opinion. Hold on, let me throw my banners up here. Don't listen to me. Everything I say is to be taken as bullshit. This is for fun, nonprofit, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, MJNA. Look at that stock. Like I said, it's at 0.00025. And it has nothing but upward action. As a matter of fact, I will even do a share screen here to show y'all what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, let me see if you can see this. Put this on full screen. You can see it. You don't need to have it full screen. Okay, right here, way back in November 26, 2003, it came, oh, my bad. Its opening up IPO was $3,500 according to Google's market summary on the medical marijuana stock MJNA. Right now it's at 0.00025. That was way back in 2003, 3,500. Now it's at it's listed at back here, 2013. It should have been taken off the stock market for being underperforming, non-performing stock and affecting the index in a negative way, and it should have been taken off. It has not been taken off, and 12 years later, we're still here, and it's at below zero. So all it's waiting for, in my personal opinion, is Trump to finish up his freaking campaign promise and nationalize, legalize medical marijuana. And when that happens, that stock will go back up to at least 1/10 of its IPO, and 1/10 of its IPO means up to $350. So if you're getting it at 0.00025, holy shkabayima, you know what I'm saying? It's a speculative. That's why I say only take like $30, get 100,000 shares, see what the heck happens. I did it, and I think it's a good play. Yeah, I always say I only give my opinion. I don't tell people what to think. What I do say is I put hours and hours of research into a lot of the stuff that I talk about. So it's not just coming out of left field, talking out my butt. I actually have done some research on the stuff I talk about. And when I see good deals, I like passing them on, even if I can't take advantage of them. And I see this as a good deal. And like I said, I can't take advantage of it. I can't throw like $1,000 at it, but like I said, I got 100,000 shares, and in my life, and this is how I gauge profit and margin loss. In my life, if I make $15,000 off of a $30 investment, fuck, I'm a winner, and that money all goes to a house as a down payment. So yay for me. Other people look at that, say, "Oh, that's all you made." That I don't compare. Winning is a personal thing, and you gotta. What's that? 5 gram coins, sweet Zardos, especially if it's platinum. What's up, Silver Shelby? But I want to definitely talk about that because it's a marijuana stock, and unlike crypto, and everyone makes money on crypto, I'm sure, and everyone's doing well in crypto and all this other stuff. Who's in it? 100x, whatever. Well, the thing about the stock MJNA is once it goes medical marijuana becomes legal nationwide, there's a bigger market cap, and the price fluctuation goes off of market cap. And if you take 10 people, 3 out of the 10 will be into crypto, 2 out of 10 will be into precious metals, maybe 3 out of 10 will be into stocks, another 2 won't be into anything. But if you ask them, hey, are you into medical marijuana? 4 or 5 of them will say, yeah. So it's a bigger market cap than the crypto and the precious metals. So if just using this logic, the market cap is larger than precious metals market cap and the crypto market cap for medical marijuana. So when it becomes medically legal across all 50 states in a federal manner, you could only imagine the market cap and influx into that stock, and it can handle going up to $350 in a couple of months because it's already been to that price. So it's not unfeasible or at all to see a dramatic increase, more than any crypto or precious metals investment could make you. And that's what I like. What's up, Mary? That's what I like. I like bringing options to the table, because everyone's like, oh, I'm only precious metals. Oh, I'm only Bitcoin. Oh, I'm only crypto. Oh, I'm only fiat. Man, there's opportunities all over the place. I talk about, and Zardos was talking about, he got some platinum coin. That's a great thing to have. And if platinum goes up 600x, excellent. But you want to know one thing that's going to do more than 600x? Clean Air Metals, the newest platinum miner on the planet. It's at 4 cents a stock right now. Within a couple of years, it'll probably be $5 to $10. That's like 1500x, So there's other plays out there. When people say diversify and stuff, that's what they're talking about, because you can make more money if you're well versed in a stock. You can make more money in that stock if the scenario is right at that time in history. And as like my buddy Economic Ninja says, the cycles are coming in. And if there is going to be a stock market crash, not everything goes down. Some things go up. And my speculation is that these smaller stocks are the ones that are going to go up, because people are going to look for a safe haven. And at that point in time, it'll look like the what do you call it? A crypto market, the alt season. It'll be 10 times the size of alt season popping in those smaller cap stocks. And after people get money off of run on crypto, a lot of people, and say the stock market crashes around the same time that the cryptos are going up or whatever, or even after, all that extra money they have, they're going to throw into the stocks. And if medical marijuana becomes nationwide legal, man, I just don't see that thing not paying off by the end of the year. Unless we have some sort of a, black swan event of whatever we can think of, alien invasion, whatever, whatever they can pull out of their ass and try and convince us of. And that's another reason you need to stay with my channel, because within 2 days of COVID happening, I looked at my buddy at the time and I said, this is total bullshit. And I was right. I called it the second day that it made the news. But yet here we are 5 years later, and it's still fucking with us. And it's bullshit, and everyone knows it now, and it's still fucking. They know it's bullshit, and they're still getting the vax. It's like, what the hell? But that's just my opinion. Sorry, I poured some tea right now. A little bit far away from the volume of the computer. Sorry about the silence. Just pretend you heard Simon and Garfunkel's The Sound of Silence. Beautiful song. Starts off with about 10 seconds of nothing. What's up, Chaz? Over there in Eastern Europe. Poland in 2023 put in a $5 billion order to South Korea for tanks that, when delivered, they will have the largest standing tank army in Europe. I think they also ordered helicopters. All in preparation for the land expansion that soon they will have when the Ukraine war gets settled. I have a feeling Poland's going to do land expansion and get some land off of that deal. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, shit. I know a lot of shit about Poland, bro. I know that they're going to get some extra land if things work out the way they're... I don't know. There's two ways it could go. If it works out more in Russia's favor, Poland's going to get a lot of what used to be... what the fuck? Ukraine. Because I saw a map and I actually did a video of this. There's 3 countries that, if Russia gets their way, there's 3 countries that are gaining a lot of land to their countries because Ukraine's going to shrink. But that all depends on the negotiations they're doing right now. Sorry, I heard some baby kitty cat meowing. I had to go check it out, make sure they were all okay. Because the bigger kitty cats are checking them out now. And, you know, big kids and little kids play together. Not real well. Little kids always tend to get banged up. But yeah, let's see, what else do I know about Poland? They've been the linchpin of Europe for about 1,000 years. Almost every war that's happened always concerned them. They've always hit the brunt of it. So and that's what concerned me when I found out that they were building up their military, because that can. At first I thought it was leading up to war, but then I found out there could be a land expansion in their future, and I was like, well, they need it to support the extra land they get. But that's yet to be determined on what they're going to use it for. But anytime a country orders $5 billion worth of tanks, it draws my attention. And I think I'm pretty sure it was Poland that ordered from America Apache helicopters, and they're actually going to have the second largest Apache helicopter fleet in the world. But I'd have to check that one out. Hey, it's a beautiful sound to get stuck in your head. Listening to the sounds of silence. Then you get the guitar. Yeah, I'm not going to sing that song. I can't do it justice. Smoked for too many years. Oh, speaking of which, my neighbor should be coming back off of his world tour this week. He took off for 2 weeks somewhere around the world, him and his band. Still never heard of his fucking band, but apparently they're fucking popular. That's what I was thinking too, but I don't like talking about war stuff. Nothing ever good comes of it. Except for a lot of people get their lives screwed up. And it's like, because people couldn't fucking talk because someone was too greedy. I mean, what's the deal? Someone wanted to cover up corruption. Someone wanted money. You know, it's always bullshit. There's never a really, really legitimate reason to go to war. It's always bullshit. And we've been programmed to that bullshit's okay to go to war for. And because and there's another great subject, it's because we've undervalued life through lawyers and lawsuits. They actually have dollar amounts for each body part that you lose and what it's worth. And it's minute compared to the actual value. But they actually, hey, what's up, Ben? They've actually put dollar amounts on your body parts, and we're not worth that much to the freaking lawyers and insurance companies. So therefore, we're not worth that much to the country because they look at us only as a tax base. So it's about time we change our economic system to where we're not seen as a fucking tax base. Get rid of taxes, get the money some other way, and we could be seen as citizens again. And that's the change I see coming in this country. Because once you get rid of the fucking income tax, then the citizen comes back and he's no longer an individual or resident. And individuals and residents under the Constitution, under the amendment that changed the Constitution of the meaning of the word of the United States citizen, is a individual or resident was replaced. And if you sign up with Social Security card and all these other cards, you're validating legally that you are a resident or an individual. Residents and individuals under the law can be taxed, by whatever law tax says, but citizens in Commonwealth states can't. But there's only like 5 Commonwealth states, maybe 3 Commonwealth states left, so you really can't be a true constitutional American unless you're in those 3 states. One of those, last I checked in 1995, was Maryland. Yeah, Mary. Get in touch with me November. I'll have feminized seeds. But anywhere I've bought that they guarantee feminized seeds and you pay fucking $10 for, fucking 70% of them are female, 30% of them are male. So I don't really trust anyone. So I started feminizing my own seeds. And this year I'm going to have 3 types of feminized, 3 different species of feminized seeds. And you know the great thing about that, Deja Vu, is you can check out the legalities of you were obviously there when it happened. Me and my brother, we just got back from Italy. It was 1975. So I was 7 years old and he was 11 years old. My parents dropped us off down the street and said, we're not going to be with you, but if you want to get your Social Security card, you go down there and get it. You'll probably need it, but we disagree with it, but we have to have it also. So they did us a favor by doing it that way, because under the law, a minor cannot sign a contract. And my brother and I were definitely minors without parental consent and guardians around us when we got our Social Security cards, and they still processed us. So they actually illegal processed my Social Security card and my brother's, because we were underage without parents or legal guardians around to sign for us. So I got a way out legally. Problem is, I'll have to take them to court. And that costs money. Sorry, I'm stoned and eating Dove chocolate, 100% milk chocolate. I was going through my shelves and I was like, whoa, cool. I got a fucking bag of fucking chocolate. Let me make sure to make that disappear. So I'm doing a good job at making that disappear. That's why I did this stream with the 420, because I started smoking. I was like, milk chocolate, tea, and weed. Oh my God, I'm in heaven. And as usual, it's pinned to the top. If anyone wants to come up on stage and talk. As you can see, I don't actually look like bacon, so you don't actually have to put your mug up there. You can use a picture. Yeah, I still have my original one from 1975 or 6. I think it was 75. Postal Service has been attacked by the liberal democratic left for many a year, trying to bankrupt them and make it go private. That's why they've been messing with, and that's why the whole system's messed up. Same with Social Security, because I'm one of those idiot kids. When I learned about Social Security back in the early 70s, I actually sat down, because I loved math. I actually sit down and I did the math, and I figured out that by the time I retired, I should be getting $15,000 a month in Social Security because of the savings rate at the time and all this other stuff. But then Carter, I found out, dipped into to get in 1979. He somehow bypassed the law and was able to transfer the Federal Forest Service pay and retirement packages to come out of the Social Security Administration's money so that he could balance the budget. And until this day, for the past 45 years, Social Security Administration has been getting drained, paying the employees of the Federal Forest Service their retirements and pensions, and other presidents along the way have been pulling out of the fund, which supposedly was illegal. And it was supposed to be a fund that never got touched, because if it never got touched, there'd be more money in the Social Security fund right now than we owe in debt as a nation. But over the past 45 years, our beautiful, God-fearing fucking leaders have robbed us of that. And that's why all of us are going to have a crappy freaking retirement, because of the theft of the past 5 or 6 presidents to the Social Security fund. So if anyone wants to write Elon Musk and Dodge and tell him, hey, look at the Federal Forest Service and see how they're getting their paychecks, and if it comes from the Social Security Administration, cut that whole fucking that three-letter agency out and save Social Security. Oh no, it'll be around. There was 6 million people already cut off of Social Security at the age from 125 up to 220 every month. They were getting an average of a $1,500 check. So that's an average of $9 million a month that was being drained out of Social Security, going to fraudulent accounts that they already closed. So that in and of itself, along with a lot of other fraud they've already got, they haven't done the redo of numbers, but Social Security recipients should be getting raises big time. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot. There's a lot of good things. That's why people are hating on Doge. The people that are hating on Doge are the ones that are liars, thieves, and scumbags that are fucking stealing that money from us. Yeah, 6 million. Actually, I think it was like 6.5 million recipients every month from the age 125 to 220 were receiving Social Security checks. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of fraud. So they've cut all that off. So like I said, that's 9 million. That's 100 million a year they're saving just by not allowing that fraud. So that increases the amount or decreases the amount being lost every year when they do the, what's up, Gerald? When they do the calculations of figures of how secure Social Security is. Next time they do those figures, you're going to find it's a lot more secure and it'll be around a lot longer just because they got rid of that fraud. Because if it's $100 million a year and they said it was going to be around, Social Security was going to be gone in 10 years, that's $1 trillion of fraud taken out of there that's not being taken out of there now. And we're not even paying out but $300 billion a year. So that'll continue it for an extra 3 years just for what they cut out. So there, if they don't change the numbers, it'll make it go for no less than 3 years longer, just with that initial bit of fraud that they discovered. And they discovered more than that. I anticipate people getting about a 10 or 15% raise in their Social Security and them coming out saying, oh no, it'll be solvent for about 2060. And then they're going to do this Bitcoin thing and generate lots of income when it goes up and settle the debt the way they're planning to. And that right there will also help Social Security. So those numbers always change, the Social Security numbers. But as that's, it's going to be solvent for our lifetimes anyhow. The older folks, 40 and up, it'll be solvent for our lifetimes, maybe 50 and up. It better be, because I'm getting like $2,600 a month at age 62. That's early retirement, pulling it early. What's up, Chad? Wolfen Schlegenhausensteiner Bergendorf. Long time no say that name. Oh, by the way, you just reminded me, Chad. Every time I see you, I remember the firing range of 50 caliber and those big fucking ammo boxes. And that's when I think of you with the ammo boxes being filled with silver. July 1st is the enactment of the start of the enactment of Basel III. And all the countries and central banks have 3 years to come in full compliance. And that is the actual reason that central banks have been buying gold. It hasn't been because they're scared of this or they're scared of that. They're buying gold because if they want to stay financial institutions, they have to comply with Basel III. And I don't have the exact numbers, but I believe the bank holdings in gold assets to money borrowed out was like 10%. And under Basel III, it increases it to either 22 or 27%. So all the central banks had over double their holdings of physical gold so that they could continue to stay in business. That is why the banks were buying it, because central banks were buying it, because they all had to come in compliance as much as possible with Basel III, because that compliance date starts July 1st, 2025. So you can look forward to that. And that right there should drive up the price of silver, and I challenge everyone to go Google and read Basel III and what it says about silver, gold, and money. And once you read all of it, you got to read all of it, not just one sentence and you like it and that's it, because there's more to it. But what basically it says is silver is a tier 1 asset because it's fractional gold, which is what the Constitution says. And anything of a fractional asset, a tier 1 asset. Oh yeah, and also they say it's not a tier 1 asset. It is a tier 1 asset. silver and gold are tier one assets. And what they're going to do is they're going to have to increase all the central banks have to increase their holdings of physical assets to back their credit line or rating or whatever they call that stuff that they do to make the fake money and all this other stuff. It's basically reining in the option of their corruption and possibilities for profit margin. What's up, JM? And that's what's going on with central banks buying up gold. And what they should actually be doing is buying up silver, because that's going to be their better asset in the financial end game for them if they're buying it to stay in compliance. But that's just my opinion. But what I do know is platinum is being squeezed right now, and no one's talking about it. Oh, and Gerald, digital platinum's coming, getting big. I think I did. No, I didn't do a report on it. I might have. The bank, the bullion, English bullion bank, Englishmen, is big time into digital platinum. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but it's really catching on, and it's getting big for the marketplace, for the market cap that they have. It's growing in interest and everything else. And as per usual, link is pinned to the top for anyone who wants to come up and not show their ugly mug, but at least talk. Because I know I got a beautiful fucking voice. I love hearing myself talk. That's why I could be successful in a desert island by myself. I can talk to a coconut better than Tom Hanks can. And I don't even have to do anything to little kids. That was a joke. Don't give me a strike, YouTube. Oh yeah, what was it? That one show I did about a week ago on Kawasaki's new concept robot horse, dog, wolf thing that you can ride. The way economies work, when new technologies start coming out and start being developed, companies and countries start grabbing the essential minerals and materials they need to buy that stuff up to keep it running so they don't get a shortfall of it. And as I've always said, new technologies coming out are going to require more platinum than we have right now. That's how I knew there was going to be another platinum mine open up. And that one robotic unit, its engine system is a hydrogen engine, which requires platinum. And they said it was going to be done by 2050. It's going to be in the marketplace. So that means there's going to be other robotic units coming out before then, or engine styles before then, that'll be, well, just like China's building right now hydrogen power plants for cars. They bought half the world's supply of platinum in 2024 just for that new technology that's coming out that we don't even have yet. How's it going, JM?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm smoking pot, talking shit, and giving away good information, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty regular occurrence.
Pretty much. I try and stay regular. I don't do that much fiber, so you know.
That bacon looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I do more of. I'm more of a carnivore than a fucking herbivore.
Me too. But bacon got really expensive. Wow.
Boy, howdy. Hasn't stopped me, but yeah, it has. I actually found a good location for a sausage. Breakfast sausage, those little small links.
Yep.
Just half them lengthwise, fry them up and make breakfast sandwiches. Add mustard, throw some bread out there. Boom.
Nice. Yeah, I found getting direct from the butcher's a great way to go.
You know, it's all location. You are 100% correct. Out here in California, there's not that many butchers. Let me put it this way. It's $13 a pound for ground beef at the butcher. And there's only 2 of them here in the Bay Area. That's expensive.
It is.
But I know when I go to Alabama, there's going to be a lot more butchers around. And it's going to be a lot cheaper. So when I go there, I'll definitely be, I'll be able to afford to take that route a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm unaware of the health value of going that way. It's just monetarily, it's hard out here.
I found one of the best ways, if you really want that protein and that meat, bang for your buck, was pork loins.
That's why I got bacon up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's,
but by weight, like if you buy the whole pork loins,
yeah.
it's significantly less expensive, and you can thin slice them and really make them last.
Oh, yeah. Another good thing is the chicken.
Yeah.
The thing is, you got to worry about where it came from. That's where, again, knowing your own place, local. Dude, if you go local, you know it didn't come from China. And trust me, when your food comes from China, it's killing you.
Yeah, you don't want it being made in a lab.
Exactly. And I found out those Costco chickens that you can get for $5 cooked.
Yeah.
Here's the transportation routes those chickens take. They get slaughtered, they get sent to China, processed, sent back here, cooked and sold, and it only costs $5. Ain't that cool?
That's sickening. Well, they should be charging more to send them off to China then.
So okay, and that business, and if you know business and you've gone to school and you understand business, that's exactly how. Unless you live in the 21st century and you know that China is trying to poison us and they're doing it through the food system. I've seen videos. If you go to jumbo shrimp and you get 5 of them and they're all the exact same size.
Yeah, GMO.
Man, I've seen the process. They take this gelatin shit and they pump them up all to the same size and then package them. It's not shrimp you're fucking buying. It's all for your eye appeal. Shrimp are not all the same size. Whoever thought they were is a lunatic. Yeah, no, you go straight to the boat and get your shrimp. And you'll find out you'll never get 5 jumbo shrimp that this.
Well, and like, why is there not the processing ability right here on this continent? Why? Like, does
it's been intentionally stopped because of global economies and the way things go. And this is why I love the idea of the tariffs, and everyone jumped my ass on tariffs, because everyone's been tariffing the fuck out of us. And what that means is it's easier and cheaper to produce things other places, and then sell them back to us. But if you remove those tariffs against us, it's cheaper for us to make them here. So the politicians have allowed tariffs to be put on us to make it to where it's unaffordable to make it here. It's not that we can't make it here. It's that the freaking tariffs make it too expensive. And it's not our tariffs on others. It's their tariffs on us that make it too expensive for us to build here in America. And that's what Trump stopped. That's how I know manufacturing's coming back to America.
Yeah, if for some reason you can't do it here at all, then
it's because someone's taxing it so heavily that we can't sell it anywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, to make a car said, and this is messed up too, man. A car that states made in America does not have to be made in America. It has to be assembled in America. In other words, it can be made everywhere else in the world and shipped here in parts and just assembled here, and it can be called made in America. When there was nothing made in America about it, it was put together here in America. Yeah. That they allow to sell to us for perception.
But it is very misleading. And you're right. It should just say assembled. And then
and that would make people think, why is it just assembled? And then they would think, go ahead, sorry.
Just like ingredients, in food products.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It should also show you at least a pie chart, the components. So maybe 70% manufactured in America, 20% here, 5% there.
Well, made during COVID because of supply chain issues, Biden allowed a law change on the labeling laws.
Right.
ingredients to finish up their product. They could use substantive ingredients and not have to change the labels. And the first thing I thought of is, oh, those people who have peanut allergies.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too.
Changed so the labels don't actually represent what's in the product. They could or could not. It's legal for them not to. I'll say that. And that sucks. Well, that's where you go back to local, man, because you know what? Your local butcher doesn't have any of those labels on his. It's all, yeah, from the farm. That's the label.
Just one ingredient, right?
Dude, Gerald, you are already freaking loading up my damn messages on my phone where I look for information that you send me. I got to go through like 1,000 food pictures. That guy's a chef. He's cooking all kinds of shit all the time.
Right on.
He actually made some pork loins a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I love barbecuing them up.
See, here he goes. I bet it. Yep, boom. Sending me pictures. Quit, Gerald, or I'll time you out. Okay, how many did you send? Like 27,000? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like a Chicago style pizza. In the fucking oven in a pan. Thick crust. Quit it. No more pictures.
Did you cover any stocks information?
MJNA. I actually, well, here, I can, I don't know how well it'll transfer over. Let me get this up. I got it on my phone.
It's medical marijuana?
Medical marijuana, and I showed the chart earlier. They've been in business since 2013. 2003, excuse me, not 2013. And this is, I know you guys can't read it, but it says Trump's DEA administrator is working on decriminalizing marijuana from a felony to misdemeanor. So that way Trump can finish his campaign promise from his first term and legalize medical marijuana federally. So they're already working on that. When that gets complete, that medical marijuana stock will freaking skyrocket.
It's like not even 1 penny right now.
Oh my God, it's like 0.00025.
Yeah.
And its IPO start back in, I think it was September 2003. It was at 3,500.
What?
Yeah. Check it out. My that's what I got. I find it hard to believe, but that's what I got when I Googled it, and I had it on my video. I'll re-pull it up.
I see it here as well. I'm looking at it in a separate tab. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'm pulling it up right here.
500.
Max. Let's see. Share screen. Now, it could be bullshit. This is why I'm showing y'all, because this is what I'm getting. And this right here says November 26, 2003, $3,500. That's what I'm getting.
Whoever loaded up on that on the initial.
Oh, they lost their ass, bro. They're fucking broke as shit. But see, the funny thing is, right here at 2013, it was like at 12 cents. What I consider non-performing stock, it started out at 3,500. It's now at 12 cents. And then from 2013 to 2025, it's now at 0.00025. I call that a non-performing stock. And according to Wall Street's own rules and regulations, after 5 years of a non-performing stock, it gets taken off the market so it doesn't affect the index in the negative manner. And it's still there. I see that as a tell of it's obviously an important thing, or else they'd have followed their own rules and delisted it.
Do you know any of the people involved in that with that company?
No, I don't. I know that there's more people that want to see medical marijuana go legal than there are people that want crypto to be currency or that want gold and silver to be currency. The market cap is a lot larger. So because it started out at $3,500 and it's so cheap now, when that happens, I can anticipate it going up to $10 in a week. Because it's got the market cap to do that, because there's more people in, not only just in America, but all over the world will jump on that stock. Canadians, people in England and Scotland and Australia, all the English speakers, marijuana will jump all over that stock from all over the world. That's a bigger market cap than both crypto and the PM market together, which means that stock has potential of bigger profit margin than any potential of gains in either precious metals and or crypto. When taken individually and separated out, you'll find that stock at the end of the day in a year or so will have been a better performer than all of them, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of certainly more established companies in that industry.
I'm not a maximalist in anything. I'm an opportunist. I see things, and if it's a good opportunity in crypto, I talk about it. If it's a good opportunity in gold and silver, platinum, I talk about it. Like platinum, I always talk about it because it's a good opportunity. I'm not a maximalist. It's just a good opportunity. Go ahead.
So May 15th, there's been no trades on it for a long time.
Yeah, it's at the absolute bottom. If you ever want to say you bought at the bottom.
It just started trading again on May 16th.
Yeah.
Friday. It's the first day.
It is going to fucking explode, in my opinion. And anyone that $30 will get you 100,000 shares. I mean, 2 packs of cigarettes. Tell me it's not worth it.
Well, and the whole day Friday, it looks like, if these charts are right, it looks like it bounced from 0.02 cents up to 0.03 cents, up and down and up and down.
Yeah. And actually, that's a 20% bump. You could have actually 20% of your money if you wanted to swing trade it.
I think it's 50%.
It's a good percent on a swing trade.
Yeah.
On a swing trade or a day trade, it's a good percentage profit margin. People see numbers fuck people up. They always think hundreds or 200s or 10 or 20 is the only way, and then you got to make you make more money on the smaller the stock, the smaller the crypto, the more money you make, because the percentage gain possibility percentage wise is so much greater. To a 100x a 0.001 coin to get it up to 1 penny ain't that hard. To 100x a $10 coin up to $1,000, that's hard as hell.
Yep.
And the big money's made in the small stocks, small caps, the altcoins or small cap stocks. Small market cap with great potential. Like exactly what Ninja's talking about, market cap, and potential of market cap. That's why I like that number of in November of 2003, it was at 3,500. That's a fucking, man, that means it's got potential to get back up there. That's going to be like one of the ceilings it's got to break through. But to get there, that's like 100,000x your money. You'd be a billionaire on $30 investment. And it's got potential to do it. The charts and history show it does. It's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's just a matter of time before that one kicks it. Especially with the political environment that we have today. And with that little chart, that little thing I just showed you about the DEA new chief is going to decriminalize marijuana, opening up the way for Trump to make medical marijuana legal in all 50 states. That stock takes off. You'll never see as much money made in a stock as soon as he does that. And he's already said he's going to. I mean, so why wouldn't people buy into it? You know what I'm saying? It's almost guaranteed.
Well, unless it just goes belly up.
And if it would have done that, it would have done it in the past 11 years when it was at zero for 11 years.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So why would it do it
Yes.
all of a sudden when it's about to break out, when everything's fixing to go its way? It's going to belly out. You know what I'm saying? It just, everything, my gut tells me if it was going to go belly up, it would have done it in 2013. 10 years after, not 20 years.
Just because that stock price is so low, I would definitely do more due diligence on it. Like I'd call them, and like I see they got a website and everything, but I can't find any financials on it. It looks like they sell, like they've got their online cyber shop.
They are waiting. They're probably billionaires waiting to become trillionaires. That's probably what happens, because that's what big money does. It's got time to wait, man. That's why they're billionaires. You make an investment, let it sit. Another billionaire comes along and stops it. Cool. Doesn't matter. Hold on to it. It'll change because the tide always changes. It comes and ebbs and flows. And that's how the big boys play the game. And what I see is big boys playing a game with this one. And it's about time for the other side to win. And that's the side of it going up. And I believe it'll go up when, it'll take a bump up when the Department of Drug Enforcement Agency head says publicly, we are decriminalizing or we're taking marijuana from a stage 1 and making it a misdemeanor, $50 fine instead of maximum time in prison. That stock will take a jump then. And then when Trump comes out and says, hey, yeah, we're going to fulfill our campaign promise last time of making medical marijuana federally legal, then it's off to the races. So it'll take a 2-bump jump. In my opinion. You know what, Finn? I have no clue, and I'm not even going to waste time looking and giving the algorithm a fucking hit for checking. And that's how I protest that one. What's up, gold and silver? Whee! Yeah, pretty much. You also have to be able to shift. Because to be right that much, you can't stay in one sector. And that's where, again, in stocks, even though I mentioned this medical marijuana stock, a good sector, speaking of sectors, a good sector to look at is the energy sector. Because with this parade that the Saudis just gave Trump, what they did is solidified they are under the American banner, and that's the energy market. America, what just happened, yeah, it was a big ticker tape day parade over there, whatever. But what actually just happened is America solidified its lead for the next couple hundred years in this planet, because we now 100% control a majority of energy production on this planet. No one can do anything without energy. It makes us the leaders. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. That, and there's fast tracking the micronuclear reactors to cover the next part of the energy sector. Woo, yeah. We're going to control the oil, the fucking natural gas, the fucking uranium, the fucking nuclear, all of it. It's going to be under our control. So that sector, I'd say in the marketplace would do good. And that one would be, I would look more towards the nuclear and micro and small modular reactor sector. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Stackers. Joe, he sees it a little differently. If you guys look at his channel, he sees the energy sector, including looking at buying oil. And I'm not saying there's not to be money to made there. It's just not. I don't look there. So, don't just go off what I say, go off what other people say too. But you'll find the energy market will be a good sector to invest in for long term. And that's, again, why I like NNE, OKLO, and Dream Inc. Sorry for running off mouth there. It happens when I get too stoned and talk about shit that I like. Thank you for stopping by, Mary. I appreciate it very much. Oh, by the way, one of the kittens escaped from their cage, so I'm going to have to name him Houdini. Or her. I didn't even check. Huh? I think they're still too young. But yeah, that was the stock I talked about. I'll talk about XLM because it's going to be flying as far as crypto goes. ZBCN. I think that son of a bitch is going to fly. A lot of your AI cryptos that are coming out are probably going to do okay. Some will, some won't. I don't know any names right off the top. XCN probably do real well, but Ninja's talking about that one. And then, yeah, platinum and silver. I wouldn't touch gold. I'd get platinum or silver. And that covers the PM sector, the crypto sector, and the stock sector. I wouldn't touch land until after it crashes. And then I'd take all profit margin from whatever sectors you're in and look at buying some, ACH and also XCN.
I think you're right with holding off on real estate too. I just heard a news piece here. There's tons of landlords that are offering their tenants the same value of a month's rent or more for them to leave. So they get caught behind on rent. So say they're 2-3 months behind, but legally they're still able to stay there. So
the landlords are trying to get them out so they can sell.
Yeah. Yep. Or get good tenants in or something. But yeah, the real estate market, and I think commercial real estate's been under a massive pinch for a while since 2020.
40% of San Francisco, 40% of the high rises I built over the past 25 years in San Francisco are vacant.
Yep, for lease.
40% of them vacant. That new highest building in San Francisco, 71 story, mostly vacant. The 57 story I built, mostly vacant. 48 story, mostly vacant. And we kept building them. As a matter of fact, I recall saying to one ironworker as we were building the 57 story, I looked over, I said, "You see that 40 story right there?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "The whole thing's vacant. Why are we building this building?"
But that's more so with commercial. Residential, it's not really nearly as bad, right?
Not yet. It's going to happen. And the funny thing is about that is in Alabama, the prices have damn near, in some places, been cut in half for the prices that they're selling. And the housing crash hasn't even hit yet. So there is going to be some amazing opportunities, purchasing opportunities. If you want to relocate, you can probably, if you have $100,000 or $50,000 cash, you could probably damn near pay a house off in the right location here coming up. And shit, what's the biggest expense in life? Mortgage. Imagine how happy you'd be if you bought a place and paid that fucker off because there was only $50,000 for 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath on a half acre. It's in a small town. So what? It's paid off. You really don't need to make that much money now, do you? You just got to change your lifestyle a little bit, and you can live real good. And that's another thing, man. With all this online money-making opportunity, I'd really get into that, because if you could get into an online money-making opportunity and afford your rent outside some of these poor states, by God, when the housing crash hits, buy it in the poor states and move. You'll be living rich if you can live off of online money business somehow. Because it does, you won't have to, at that point in time, you won't have to move into the 1 million per population city because you have to go to an actual physical job site to make your money. You'll be able to go to the freaking country, into a town of 10,000 where the houses are cheaper than hell and you get lots of land. and you still be able to work your online business or job or whatever.
Yeah, so many people are working out of the home now.
And you know, it's funny that they're staying in these expensive areas doing that.
Well,
It's
I'm
like,
thinking if you could convert some of the vacant office space,
oh, they've already done that, dude.
convert it to residential.
They up in New Jersey, Maryland, somewhere up there. There was this mall that collapsed, and it was in a good location. Developer bought it and turned it into condominiums. 1, 2, some 3-bedroom condominiums. It's 2-story, and the typical walkway of the mall is now inside for the residents, like a personal small park area. Even in the rain, they can go out and do their laps and all this other stuff. It's a secure camera, you know, in the public area, and it seems to be taking off. So yeah, big money's already looking at that, bro. And it's going to take off. Well, actually, it is and it isn't, because if you look at the infrastructure, it's a mall. It's something else. Now you're sticking 200-300 families in there that are going to be flushing the toilet. It wasn't, the infrastructure wasn't geared for that kind of activity. You know, so you're going to have a lot of interesting future issues if infrastructure is not increased. And increased infrastructure, that means you got to dig shit up, which is inconvenient for everybody. So usually towns and cities don't do that. They just add the extra people and allow this future problems to get so bad that they have to close the street and pick up the pipe and put a new one in instead of maintaining it. Yeah, I'm seeing it out here in California, people adding a second house to their lot. But yet now, when they designed the city, each house was wide enough for 2.5 cars to fit in front of it. That's why most houses don't have driveways and garages. Yep. But if someone adds a second house to their property, now each house only has 1.25 parking spots, but each house probably still has 2 or 3 cars. So now you have over congestion of cars and facilities like sewage, water, you know, and other things. And then I found in heavy Democrat areas, they tend to encourage that kind of behavior because it disrupts long-term infrastructure, which actually kills cities. Wow, gold and silver, that's interesting. Why don't I make money on YouTube then?
And it's not just 1 billion people on there. It's active users.
Yeah. We got 7 of them here, so we got a majority of it covered.
Yeah, and trades, Jeffro's right too. The trades are always going to be in high demand.
Out here on Muir Island, it used to be a submarine naval base. It got shut down in the base closures of the 90s, 2000 era. They got 2 breweries out there now in old military buildings. One of the areas that was old military facilities is like a art walk type. Lots of different artists in the buildings with that. Like every weekend, they all open up, all different types of artists, but they live, work in the same spot. And there's like a little area right along the water that was made for them. They're like, we've totally redone a lot. We have 2 companies out there that are, well, actually one of them's working for Google doing their micro houses that they ordered. They're being built out here on Muir Island. So if you ever hear about Google or Tesla, well, not Tesla anymore, but they used to, like 5 years ago, Tesla was building houses out here. There's portable houses of theirs.
Yeah, the tiny homes are a huge opportunity too.
Yeah, we have 2 facilities because of it was an old Navy base that had the high overhead cranes and the long extended indoor warehouses. That's perfect for the construction of that type thing. And there's 2 buildings on Muir Island that are occupied by 2 different companies just because of its inside warehouse with overhead crane, with it sizable enough to make a 2-story little tiny house and be able to pick it up with a crane and run it around and then dismantle it and package it and ship it out. It's actually a cool little system they have in there. It's like a assembly line house building. I used to hit their dumpsters all the time. They get pissed at me. They throw away some good wood, man. Some good 2x6s, 2x8s, shit like that. Little 4-footers, 3-footers.
It's amazing how much stuff gets thrown out like that. I
Oh
see
my
the dumpsters
God.
like, from renovations.
Dude, if you look at my backyard, the when I do some videos, all the shelving I have on the fence line, it's all reclaimed lumber, man. All it cost me was time and screws.
It's perfect.
Yeah, everything in the backyard, all the stones are reclaimed from across the street. As a matter of fact, you hear some banging around. The guy's got people taking the rest of his rocks that I didn't get. He wanted out of his house, so I saved him money by taking the flagstone out. But it's reused. I didn't pay a penny for it. Every fucking bit of that backyard is reclaimed.
Yep.
I didn't buy one thing for it. It's all sweat equity and free shit.
Not sure if I told you there was a house in the neighborhood where I walk dogs that was having all their windows replaced. So I snagged, it was maybe 10 or 12 of them.
Sweet.
Put them in my car and took them over to my buddy's place so he could build or use them in the building of a greenhouse.
Nice. I actually don't know how. I don't recall how. I have an 8-foot, an 8.0 door, front door. But it's 8 foot tall,
Yeah.
double glazed, mostly glassed, still in the package. I've had for a couple of years. It's out in the garage, and I don't recall how I think it was a misorder at a job site, and they said they were going to throw it away. I said, "Hey, I'll throw it away for you," and I took it home.
It's brand new.
Fuck yeah, it hasn't even been unboxed yet. and it's 8-footer. It's like I'll have to build a special shed just to use the door, but I'm going to do it one day. It's like an $800 door, man.
Yeah, I was going to say those aren't cheap.
No, it's double pane glass.
Yeah.
Not single pane. It's double pane. It's like pretty well insulated door. So it was going to an office office building. It just was the wrong type or something. They were going to throw it away. I said, I'll take it to the dumpster, put it on my car.
For sure.
The dumpster's still in the backyard. Actually, in the shed. It hasn't been rained on. I've made sure of that. Topeka, Kansas, huh? Well, Gold and Silver's bragging about his what do you call it? His McHale's Navy days. What's up, Pete?
Yeah, that would be wild. I think I'd be getting claustrophobic in a submarine.
One of my bosses, they own, well, the family owns Cal Erectors. It's a steel erection company out here. Was it Byron Dahl? He was an officer in the Navy in their nukes divisions in the 70s and 80s until they started cutting them back. And I think he got cut out 80s, maybe early 90s. And then because his family owned the ironworking company, he ended up working for the family as a superintendent of ironworkers. But he was an asshole as an ironworker because he didn't want to be an ironworker. He wanted to stay in the nukes in the Navy. That's why I remember him, because he was always talking about the Navy and the nukes. And I was like, dude, get over it, motherfucker.
Well, the ironwork's going to be a grind physically, right?
Oh, my God.
When you're doing that day after day after day, like, wow.
I can see where old men are stronger than young kids with muscles. And it's the old practice of if you I don't know, you guys don't know this. If you do things consecutively for decades, you have innate built-in strength that's not seen in size.
Yeah. Well, and there's a big difference between going to the gym for an hour and working a physical job, you know, 8, 10.
40 hours in 5 days rather than working out for 5 hours in 5 days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. I'm going to enjoy early retirement.
Hey, Gerald, I remember you mentioning that earlier about your son. Yeah, I'm not, well, I'm not really an authority on it, but I have quite a bit of experience working with dogs. But yeah, I'm more than happy to speak with him. Have him put a comment in on one of my videos or something, or come here, and I can have a chat with him like on StreamYard. Doesn't have to be live.
Yeah, you can do backstage.
Yep. I would use Zoom, but I've never used Zoom.
The only time I was on Zoom, I was called into a court case, a lawsuit, as a witness, and I had to go to San Francisco because it was Alabama was the city or the state that the lawsuit was taking place, and they didn't want to fly me in, so they did a Zoom thing, and I had to go to a law firm in San Francisco to do the Zoom thing, and that was the only time. And of course, I handed the lawyer's ass. The case ended as soon as I finished my testimony. They were like, "All right, we'll settle." I was like, "Yeah, I thought so, dumbasses."
That's one thing I don't like having to deal with is the courts.
Actually, Gerald's going to meet one day the guy I'm talking about. The guy that was suing was my buddy Steve, who's got the Ren Fair. And we'll tell you the story. And he'll tell you, yeah, Neil did the Zoom call. And when that Zoom call was over, they sent me a check. I handed that lawyer his ass. Got witnesses. It's on tape. I'm not a dumbass. I'm far from it. He had such a smug smile. I was enjoying every minute of it.
Well, getting sued is no freaking fun. That I can tell you.
No, I wasn't getting sued. I was a witness to something that everyone forgot until I reminded them, and it had to do with the lawsuit. Actually, directly with the lawsuit. I was surprised they didn't fucking remember that I was there.
So you were sort of their ace up the sleeve.
No, basically, I was at a place and lit in to a place where supposedly people weren't supposed to be lit in, and I was lit in with someone else, and the owner is the one who lit us in, and everyone forgot that. Even my friend who was with us when it happened, and I was like, "Don't you remember? He fucking brought," because the whole lawsuit was based off of location. Was he restricted access area or not? And if he was, why? And the owner was like, "No, no one ever went back there." I was like, "Bullshit! You fucking listened several times." And they or something. I don't know. But as soon as I mentioned it, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." You know, and the lawyers looked around and was like, "Yeah, you just lost the case, didn't you, bro?" I don't know why they fucking didn't remember it. It was, to me, it was a significant occasion, but I guess to them it wasn't.
It can happen.
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
Or 2001. And they called me back in, I think it was 2014, 15 was the lawsuit. So it was like 13, 14 years after the fact that the lawsuit occurred.
That's a long time.
Yeah. There was extenuating things happening in the meanwhile, which is because I know statute of limitations and people are probably thinking that there's extenuating circumstances that led back to them needing testimony from 13 years earlier to prove that it was a long case. It's not worth talking about. Other than I handed a lawyer's ass when he thought he was going to use me for his benefit.
Yeah. I had a former business partner try to sue me, and three of the other partners. and it ended up costing me almost 40 grand in legal. The guy just wouldn't give up, and it got dragged out over 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Finally, got it settled, and there was also, I forget the legal terminology, but where he could never attempt to sue me again.
Did you counter it? Was it? Did he win? Let me rephrase that. Was it a win lose lawsuit in the end game?
It was I still had to cover my own legal, which you know ended up being about 40 grand. But one of the other partners, he had like 70, and so the guy that was suing had to pay, I think it was like 15 of his legal.
So he didn't win, and you didn't win.
Yeah, it was a bullshit thing that should never have been there.
A
And they just,
frivolous lawsuit. So yeah, you should have countersued him.
yeah, I could have, but you know what? It was already dragged out so much, and
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
freaking done with it.
yep.
But what I did get was something put in saying
An
he could never
injunction.
sue again, because he'd try and fail, and then like he'd come back with another suit. It was just retarded.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an injunction you got against him.
yeah, but the one guy just called me the other day and said that this same guy went back and sued him again and got a judgment for $1 million on him.
Wow.
He's like, he's got like a $3 million house in Toronto. He's like, I'm gonna have to sell my freaking house. So he said, I'm not gonna do that. He's not gonna get a nickel. He says, I'm gonna have to take it to a higher court and sue my lawyer, because the I guess he said the lawyer didn't represent him well.
Hey, I got a quick kitty emergency. I'm gonna head out for about a minute, hopefully less. Can you lock things down here for a sec?
Yep, no
Thank
worries. So for people in the chat there, and for Neil, who's probably still listening anyway, the whole point simply was, I don't like having to deal with courts. It's a real drag. Real drag. Oh no, the poop deck was a pumping. That's nasty, gold and silver. That is nasty. What was the other stock that Neil was talking about? Was Clean Air. Clean
Yeah,
Air Metals.
metals. Daddy Cat was inadvertently helping the baby kittens escape.
Uh-huh. And that Clean Air Metals, I was seriously considering buying a little bit of that.
Dude, you
Still
could
at 4 cents.
you could do yourself no harm long term, in my personal opinion, by owning several thousand shares of that at the price it's at. $40 worth, as I'd say, throw at it.
It's at 3.5 cents.
Yeah, you get like I think 10,000 shares for $40 or 100,000, something like that. Here, I'm gonna look at something here real quick here. Okay, here we go. Max. Excuse me.
Blessings. $0.035. Yep.
All right, here we go. Okay. Let me share screen and give a better explanation. Platinum Star chart didn't. Okay, here with this one here. This is Impala Platinum Mining Holdings. They came out 2008, and they started paying dividends between 6 to 8 cents a share, all the way up till about somewhere around here, 2014. So if you notice the price here from when they came out, they're at 11, 10, 15, 30, all this and stuff. Their lowest here was $1.90, and then they got a low here in 2019. COVID was 18 cents. So basically 18 cents was their all-time low as a platinum miner. And right now they're at like $6.18. They're probably going to start offering dividends again. And their average dividend is, when they pay it, it says here on this other page, is about 6 cents per share. So if you look at this stock chart here and see, even at the low here, when it was like 18 or 15 cents, they were still paying 6 cents a share for the stock.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like a 7% dividend.
Yeah. So if you buy the Clean Air Metals at 4 cents, when it gets up to about $1, they'll probably start paying some dividends of more than what you paid for the share. So basically, it's like, the way I look at it is free money. You want a return, a savings account at 7%. That'll be more than, that's a savings. If you buy, like, what I mean is, like, you say you get 10,000 shares for $400. I don't know, whatever it costs. We'll just say $400. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to do the math to get this point across. In a couple of years, when that stock goes up to where they're paying dividends, which they will, once they start extracting platinum out of the ground, that stock will jump. And then shortly thereafter, they'll start paying dividends. And they'll pay you more in dividends. Most likely, it'll probably be 5 or 6 cents. And they will pay you more in dividends than you paid for that stock. That is over 100% return of investment in a few years. So as far as a savings account goes, it's like, don't look at it as a stock investment. Look at it as a savings account that'll get you 100% fucking interest on your money yearly for several years. So how much money do you want? 100% of your money? Invest that. No, we ain't going to talk about the Confederates' gold they've already located there, Gerald. State of Michigan's the one holding that back, because their law doesn't allow you to pull anything off the bottom of Lake Michigan for some stupid ass reason, or else there'd be a whole shitload of gold dumped on the market. A whole train car full of bars of gold is at the bottom of Lake Michigan.
You think that there is?
Oh no, it's already been proven.
So why can't they get it?
Because the law in Michigan is you can't pull anything off the bottom of the ground, underneath the water. If it's on the ground and partially submerged, you can't pull it up. You can't extract it. You can't do none of that shit. I don't know why. It's Michigan law.
You'd think the government would just go in there and snag it, you know?
Well, the guys who find it keep going back looking to make sure no one's taking it, because they're fighting it in court. They're like, dude, we just
So there's
found
security. There's security on them.
they got I don't know how many billions of gold they got, but they found a couple billion.
Hmm.
And it's probably English gold and Aztecian gold that was melting because it's Confederate. It's the Confederate nation, which actually Confederacy was a nation for a while. Their treasury of gold was given to them and looted. And at the end of the Civil War, they tried a couple of different routes of getting that money to safe spots so that quote unquote the South could rise again. So one of their trains of cash flow of gold went north to cut through and then across the lakes, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, whatever, and head west. And another one was to head west along the Gulf of America, and neither of them made it to their locations. And there's actually in Lake Pontchartrain a whole bunch of silver coins that it's actually would be more expensive to extract those coins because the laws down there. But there's a whole shitload of silver coins in Lake Pontchartrain from the Civil War as well. Laws and regulations make it expensive.
Be awesome to come into a windfall like that, though.
Well, one thing you need to look on for that is you need to do specific research on hurricanes in the Gulf of America, because I remember as a kid in Pensacola, Florida, every now and then people would discover doubloons, gold doubloons, washed up on Pensacola Beach and Johnson's Beach after certain hurricanes, and I'd be like, "Damn, how'd that get here?" Okay,
well, silver or gold?
It's the gold. Yeah, from the Spanish lost treasure fleet, the one that Mel Fisher found part of. But Pensacola's in the Gulf of America. Mel Fisher found his on the Atlantic side in the Caribbean. Yeah, so there's billions of dollars of gold still in the Gulf of America, and if you study the wave patterns and ocean floor movement after each hurricane, and then you go in the news and find out what years after what hurricanes people discovered what they discovered, and you just do a backtrace search on where over several decades of ocean floor movement, and if you do that enough, or if you get an AI computer to do that, you could probably pinpoint the location of the treasure.
Yeah.
I've thought about that for years. I just never got around to it.
I watched a video of a guy that had a homemade rake, but rather than having your normal sort of rake prongs, he had rare earth magnets on them, and he was raking the beach with it and picking up all sorts of stuff. And because it was rare earth, like even if there's something magnetic 3-6 inches under the sand, it was pulling it right up. Like he got a wrench and all sorts of stuff.
Right on.
And so when we're talking about this, I was just thinking, yeah, wouldn't that be cool if you could get a magnet and pick up that gold and silver? But the gold and silver is not magnetic, so that's
yeah, but it clears the way so your metal detector doesn't get that bullshit non-ferrous hits.
There you go.
Gold and silver. So it actually, because part of the problem with metal detecting is you pull up so many fucking bottle caps.
Right.
If that thing gets them out of the way, it's clear sailing for metal detecting. Everything you hit's going to be a fucking gold or silver at that point in time.
Yep.
I could see great benefit to that. Yeah. There's lots of treasure. There's 30-mile stretch on the western shores of central Florida they call the Gold Coast, because there's like, I'm gonna get this number wrong, 14 or 17 sunken treasure ships out there that are located. They're trying to find in this 30-mile stretch on the center west side of Florida shoreline. That's where the company SFRX is actually operating. That's also another good stock to look at.
Yeah, I've heard of them, probably from you.
Most likely, because it's very interesting. They have similar dynamics of non-performance for a long point in time, but they're actually working with federal and state regulators to perfect their technology. And then if you do further research on the company, you find out that their technology is to make an underwater workable metal detector that actually does its job and works properly and can stay underwater for a long time. And above and beyond that, I talked about not Mel Fisher. Yeah, Mel Fisher. How he discovered his fucking treasure find was he blew up with dynamite coral reefs to get underneath coral reefs where the treasure was. And every country along the Gulf of America saw that and said, "We're illegal. It's now illegal to treasure hunt in our shores and blow up our reefs because that's our natural resource and we need it for tourism. We're not going to have you blow it up." So what SFRX does, Seafarer Explorer, they're coming up with a technology where they can find exactly where the treasures are at in these coral reefs and only dig a 6-inch drilled hole through the coral reef and still extract a majority of the golds and silvers and coppers and other treasures without destroying the reef. And so once they perfect that technology, they're going to have sole access rights to pick up all those treasures that we know where they're at, but it's illegal to get because they're underneath coral reefs of different countries along the Gulf of America. So you can only imagine what their stock's going to do when that happens. They'll have sole rights to do it, exclusive rights. I mean, that stock should jump like a motherfucker.
My understanding is the coral reefs are a living thing, and if they get damaged, it can actually take a long time to repair, if at all.
Yeah, it does take a while, and that's why the federal and state regulators are working with Seafarer Explorer on their technologies to be able to only drill a 6-inch hole in the whole coral reef and still be able to extract that treasures. I don't know the full robotic or programming type stuff they're doing, but I do know they're working with state and federal regulators, and their stock's pretty much been at zero. Although if you look at the trend of the stock, it actually takes like a 300x and then goes back down 2 or 3 times a year. And I speculate that's probably how that company and their employees make money, is by that. And I think the feds are actually controlling it because it's kind of regular that you if you look at that chart flow pattern over 5 years, you'll be able to see a rhythm of it going, 300, and 300x ain't shit when you're talking about 1 penny to 3 pennies back down again. But if you got $100,000 and it jumps to $300,000 and you sell half of it, you just made a year's salary.
Are you talking about SFRX still?
Yep.
Because I'm sure that's another one of these penny stocks. It's not even 1 penny.
And how long has it been around? Since what, 10, 12, 13, 14 years?
Yeah, since 2001.
Oh, so it's been around for 24 years. Yeah, it should have been off the stock market fucking 15 years ago. But yet it's still around, and state and federal regulators are working hand in hand with that company for them to perfect their technology. And I think that is another hidden gem. And once that technology is perfected, it's already going to be approved by the federal and state regulators for use. And I mean, that's a golden goose, in my opinion.
It's amazing.
I do a lot of research.
I'd say. Hey, Neil, I'm going to drop down. I got to get flying here for a bit. Are you still on for a while, or?
I might be. It all depends.
Okay.
If
you're still on for a bit, I'll try to pop back.
Right on.
Thanks for having me. I
use all of my hours in the first part of the month. I only have 20 hours of free StreamYard.
But you're good with Restream still, though, right?
I'm having issues hooking. It's, man. Technology's fucking with me, dude. It's my Achilles heel.
Well, you definitely
Yeah,
had
no,
it.
I did have it, and it changed. It's everything changed again.
Yeah, they changed the layout, or I think they call it
Yeah,
skin.
that
So you
fucks.
just you got to look at it when you first go in there, and turn on that you want to stream it to YouTube.
Yeah, and that's where it says I have to fucking do something with Premium X or something like that. Every time I try that now, it's like weird. And I'm sure I'm doing it wrong, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's still in there. It's still free.
Yeah, it's just again it changed up, and I hate that shit because I got so much other shit. I don't have time to keep fucking.
Let me just see here.
No, it's okay, man. You go do your thing, man. It'll all be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Now it wants you to sign in for it with everything.
Yeah, you just do your thing. It'll all work out.
Hold on,
I appreciate you coming up here.
hold on.
Appreciate it more if you'd vote for Canada to become part of America. I heard Alberta is actually more seriously thinking about seceding.
They are, yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah, your government fucked them hard or something like that.
Well, they have been for a long time.
Of
They,
course.
it's called transfer payments. So
Uh-huh.
Alberta, is making probably just as much GDP as any of the other provinces, and so they end up subsidizing a lot of the poorer provinces. And they're like, "Hey, what the hell?"
Actually, I think Alberta makes most of the money in Canada. The Albertan.
Ontario's right up there too. Like Ontario's got a lot more manufacturing. Alberta's got oil and
Yeah, the energy sector, and food sector. Energy. That's what America's fucking trying to control right now. That's what another reason you're having issues.
Yeah.
As America wants to control the energy sector of the world. And to do that, well, Alberta would be nice. Anyhow, you get along with your day, my friend.
Okay, so I went into Restream, and you just go through the things. The button you got to look at are on the top right. I just did it though; it's still working.
Right on.
Would be good. Okay, I'm going to shut that down and head out. Have a good evening, everyone, and great balance to the weekend. I may see you a little bit later.
Right on. You have a good one, my friend. Be safe.
Enjoy.
I am definitely down with that one, Jeffrey. Maybe even Michigan. What's the Somalian state we have up there now? Yeah, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. And they get a lot of money off of the energy, and they pay a lot of taxes because of the Canadian government's hatred of energy. No. Yeah, if they're in Washington State, that one's worse than Oregon. Once we get rid of Washington State, Oregon might straighten up. Yeah, there's just wait. There's hopefully justice and law will come in back, and jail time will start coming to certain people who've broken laws that, well, basically the January 6th people broke the same laws. But yet, because these people are Congress people, they're not in jail yet. And I'm still waiting for that to happen. But they're probably trying to trade their political ass to stay out of jail. And that should not be allowed to happen because they didn't have that opportunity. Hey, you take care, Gold and Silver. Thank you for stopping by. So anyone else have anything else they want to talk to? I've thrown out some pretty decent, very, 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 very penny stocks. I mean, small dollar stuff, small investment, if you can even call it investment. Hell, man, the price of things nowadays. Go to Burger King and spend $20 or put $20 on one of those 3 stocks I told you about. You'd be buying the stocks than going to Burger King just for one meal, you know? No, I think both of them should actually see what it's like to be on the inside of a prison. No, by the way, I do like the idea that Trump talked about building new cities. I'm not sure. Everyone's talking about 15-minute cities. I'm not quite sure that I don't know. But I like the idea of having new cities pop up. Like if you look at the map, you'll see about 90% of the land mass of Nevada, the whole state of Nevada, 90% of the land mass is owned by the federal government and not the state. So in reality, it's not really a state. It's only approximately 10% of the land mass is the state. The rest of the state is federal land. So it's, is it really a state at that point in time? Yeah, we're the state of Nevada. We own 10% of our land. Oh, cool. You're good. I guess it's better than only owning 5% of your state. Oh, okay. You were saying buy a JM. Right on. Yeah, I don't have any other videos to show. Ondo, I think Ninja did something. I think it was Ondo. I don't know. Let me see if I can't find it. Why? Oh, there it is. That's for filming. Nope. That's not it. Oh, it's Onyx Coin. Onyx Coin. Under Onyx Coin. Yeah, those are all going up. All the altcoins, they call them. That's a good thing. Make money off that stuff. And then roll it over into other stuff to make long-term money. Because these halvings, they only once every 4 years. So for 3 years, there ain't no money to be made looking at it as if crypto's there to be made money off of a halving event. If you look at it like crypto's there to be made money off of all the time, with that perspective, you'll actually make more money. Well, I bet BlackRock is hoping that Congress passes that bill that states that financial institutions can create their own dollar, their own stable coin dollar backed 1-for-1 by the U.S. dollar. Ninja is a trip, man. He's a good friend of mine, actually. We've only been in the same room together once in 3 years, and it was a good time. everyone had a good time, and there was a lot of Joe Brown from Hershey Finance. There's a couple people there. Dylan was there. Several other bigwigs were there, and yeah, we had a good time. It wasn't really a dinner. It was at a bar, but it was a dinner, but it wasn't a dinner type thing. After event get together bullshit kind of thing. And once I get some cassiola up, I might be able to start attending these events again and get some more backstage access to all these bigwigs. I actually enjoyed talking to Hershey Financial, Joe Brown. He's a very intelligent guy. Ninja said it would go up if everyone played it right. And people are starting to listen to Ninja, so sorry, I had to get a Pepsi out of the or a Coke out of the refrigerator. Oh, dude, gold and silver. I'm subscribed. Sal, he just turned out another good video today. I don't even recall what it was about, but I watched the whole thing. It was very interesting. But I'm stoned right now, and now that I have to recall, I don't recall. Put myself on the spot, and I fucking deer in headlights. What the hell was this show about today? It was about something important too. Damn. Huh. I know. He's been talking about a shipbuilding act that will be getting passed by Congress. If it doesn't get passed by Congress, an executive order will be passed. Which means America will probably spend about $1 trillion on infrastructure for ports and railway and that thing. And the work to renew and modernize all the facilities, along with building 200 boats about 1,000 yards long. Or is it 250 boats, 1,000? Yeah, Bitcoin convention, that'd be nice. I could be fucking floating with the big boys on that one. Mm-hmm. That's right. I'll make the next convention. I can tell you this, you know, Jerry. If the Ninja's there and I'm showed up, I'm his right hand man. That and ivermectin. Yeah, I only have these little 7.5 fluid ounces because I don't drink Coke a lot, Jeffro. But I do have the little 7.5 ounce cans, and I usually only drink like half of them. And I don't have them in the refrigerator often, but they usually stay there for a month or two. I buy like a dozen of them in a small pack, and because every now and then I just feel like drinking one, but it's not a consecutive drink that I have or use or drink. That's a good thing. Because if our credit rating's in the tank, and then all of a sudden, well, I will give a familiar example. Supposedly, I owed the IRS $137,000 for quite some time, and I didn't pay them. So it was on my credit listing that I owed $137,000. And overnight, I settled with them for $100, and it got taken off my bad credit rating, and my credit soared. Right? So all America needs to do to get their credit rating back is show a cut in spending of the annual budget of about 20% and a decrease in spending through waste and fraud of about 20% and an increase of revenue, even though decrease in taxes because of the tariff reduction in that scenario, and your credit rating gets restored next year, interest rates get dropped, zero inflation by 2026, like Neil says, as predicted. We'll get good credit rating. We'll get good interest rates when we buy. Put a lot of cash down. More cash down you get, the better percentage rate you get. And if you show positive results after a while of getting credit, you get some signature loans going there in the six figures. Hey, I need $200,000 for 45 days. Give me a signature loan. Nah, I don't want to have anything to do with finance other than making money. I'll tell people here, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment reasons. Don't listen to me. Everything we say is to be taken as bullshit. This is for fun, not profit or health. That way I don't get any strikes. So I don't want people thinking I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I would suggest you take advantage of what the hell I'm talking about. But that's a strong suggestion. That's not advice. Words mean everything. And I don't even suggest you take. I suggest you look into what I'm talking about and take your own path. But if you had $100 and you invested in those three stocks, $33 per stock. Matter of fact, I'm going to write this down. 5/17/2025. Imaginary $100, $33 thrown at each of the stock. In a year, we'll come back and address those numbers and see what the fuck would have happened had I done that. Or had anyone have done that. That's how I got into to watching the stock market. I played it on paper for years first, so I could see the rhythms and the patterns. And I used to be pretty good for an iron worker. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Hmm. Debt free is the only way to be, baby. The only way. Those three right there. Well, when you find one, let me know, Jethro. I just with a camera. I'll make money off the pictures. Of course, you'd have to be at a special spot at a certain time. But other than that, make a lot of money off those pictures. Wouldn't change history at all. You go back in time, like say, for example, you want to know where the lost Dutchman's mine is? You go back in time and you take a picture, a video, like say a drone video from a 2,000, 3,000 foot high where no one can see it, watching where he goes to find the mine. Then you bring that video back to the future, and then you just retrace the steps. You'll have affected no time. You would have affected nothing in the past, and yet you still make riches off of it. That's how you beat time travel and don't do have a paradox. Man, there's a lot of freaking motorcycles around the past 2 days. I'm talking Harleys. No, I don't like that sound. Means I might have to go have a talk with somebody. See what the fuck they're doing, revving up those engines for no gosh dog reason. And then I give my terrifyingly elaborated speech on wanting to be noticed and being loud to be noticed. It really works on people. They think I'm crazy. I guess something gets lost in the interpretation. Non-interference. That's why I said if he gets a flex capacitor, goes back in time, I just want him at a certain time in a certain place. Just take pictures, a video. Don't change nothing. Don't do nothing. Just take a video at a certain time in a certain place. Same with those Spanish fleets. Just take a video where they're at and then go directly latitude or longitude to the nearest land. Make a visual. Come back. We'll find it. That's why the people who are immortal, other than the ones that never died, would be like Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Napoleon, Caesar, Mark Antony, Cleopatra, Tutankhamun, all these old timers that we still talk about, they're not actually dead. They are dead physically, their body is, but their legacy is still alive because we're still talking about them. So that's the true eternal life on this physical plane of existence, is through a legacy in history to be remembered and talked about for generations and generations to come. Would that be immortality by historical indoctrination? Do something historical enough that'll put you in the history books, and you'll live forever in the history. Yeah, I'm a little guy too. People are often impressed after it's too late. But, oh well. I always tell people, yeah, you know, I'm a 500-pound giant. You only see 150 pounds, but as soon as I pull that 350-pound heart out, I turn into a 500-pound giant. And it's hard to whoop the ass of a 500-pound giant. I just don't like to lose. I spend a lot of time in training on different techniques so that I can get out of things and not lose. Or not get into things and not lose. Either ways, not lose. Losing is bad. Every now and then, needed, possibly, depending, but losing's bad. Be a wiener. It's always good to be a wiener. Be a wiener. An Oscar Mayer wiener. That's why on JM's podcast, on his word game, I always write I win, because it's a mindset. If you have the right mindset, you're good to go. Life will be a lot easier. You'll make a lot more of the right moves, decisions, whatever. If you're positive, because positivity actually does breed positive results. Negativity does breed negative results. Hey, you're not supposed to be listening. You're away doing some shit, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, it's not like the old days. We used to do a lot of fighting in the old days. Oh, right on. Well, I just happen to still be here, amazingly enough. Or oddly enough. Excuse me. So what else can we talk about? Let's see. What's happened that would be interesting to talk about? No. I don't want to talk about mushrooms. That shit might get me another strike. I got a strike last time I talked about mushrooms. I called Paul Stamens because I got some, and because I was talking about his product when I got the strike. So yeah, we're not talking about mushrooms. Sorry. Yeah, YouTube, man. And that's why I called Paul Stamens and I asked him, I was like, what's up with this, man? What's up? He's like, yeah, because they all instantaneously, once you start talking about mushrooms, they think of the psilocybin, and you get strike. He says it happens to him, and he never talks about it. He's actually got medicinal purposes for it, but we can't talk about that because I'll get a strike. So yeah, not even the edibles of I want it on my pizza. Which, by the way, I don't like. I like meat with extra sauce. Yeah, no. Can't talk about none of that shit. I'll give you a call and tell you all I know, but I can't talk about it here. It is against the financial law to talk about cures. And when I mean financial law, what do I mean when I say financial law? Whoever controls the finances doesn't want to lose money. I don't know who they are. I just know they don't like losing money. And they make money off us being sick. So can't talk about anything that makes us healthy. Maybe one day we'll be able to. Then I could tell you a whole bunch of stuff. Keep you healthy as poop fire. Yes, they do, Jay. They very much do, JM. I guess I get swept in every time they change the rules. I'll definitely, when they change the rules, I definitely get one strike, sometimes two, before I change up. So I'm actually going faster on the change up and trying to keep it down to one strike. And I think they do that actually because as long as you have a strike pending, you can't be monetized. So therefore, they don't push your content, so you lose watch hours, which kind of sort of is what's happening to me. It's all a ploy. So what else do you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about the feasibility of, hold on, here we go. A new industry that doesn't require humans at every aspect of it. Definitely not the part that goes up into outer space, but robotic asteroid mining. You could virtually, with a pair of virtual glasses, have someone get paid here on Earth. Here's a way how you make money in the future with robotic asteroid mining. Have someone virtually controlling a robotic unit doing mining out in space, and they get paid the miner's wage for sitting in a virtual reality chair running that robot on time, same time period as they're working. That's a way that you have humans replacing robots or working side by side with robots. And we get into my asteroid mining. Although that's not how it's going to work. If you understand how asteroids are created and how they're held together, they're very loose. There are some asteroids that are very solid, but a majority of them are a loose combination of different minerals and metals and elements. And if you like drill into one, it'll kind of explode out. Not really explode, but the pressure of the drilling inward will push it out because it doesn't have a gravity to it. And that is an actual issue. They've actually looked at a couple different ways from basically vacuuming up the asteroids to encompassing the whole asteroid in like a big mesh netting, and then disabling it by like sonic waves, breaking it down to smaller minerals and processing it into a smaller, not a pure form, but breaking it down to more of its component units that it makes up as a mass, and then taking it to a refining place. Yeah, and that's why you couldn't use an AI robot, because AI robots wouldn't work well. But I could see, like I said, I could see a usefulness of a robotic unit like that for asteroid mining, because of the radiation problems and everything else that humans would face. Replace them with a robotic unit, and you don't want that robotic unit thinking on its own if it's in control of billions of dollars worth of equipment. Sarah Connor is on Mars, man. I get my Arnold Schwarzenegger movies messed up. But anywho, I can't wait to get my own personal robot and have him make my jewels for me. Then you sit there and you do this. And then once that's done, once you get 12 of those, do this with them. And then once that's done, go back and do the same thing over again. Don't stop. Never stop. Continue until you run out of gems or gold or silver. And when he has me a couple thousand gems ready for sale, I just turn him off. Say, hey, you're going into hibernation. You did well. You need to take a sleep. Go to sleep, young man. And then go on vacation, spend my money, come back and put his ass to work again. There's going to be ways you can make money off of robots, people. They do not create futures devoid of humans. A future for humans would be useless without humans. So every future created, they might go with a more limited supply of humans, might be their goal, but their goal is never 100% achieved all the time. Keep packing and stacking. Automation. See, this is why I say, everyone should open up a company, man. A small manufacturing company making one component of something or something like metal 3D printing. Yeah, using metal instead of plastic. Elon Musk hires people who have companies to do that exact same thing, pays them good money. You can do that shit at your house. Ain't that cool? Ain't that cool? You just have to think differently than we used to, because again, it's going to be a new economy. So robotics are going to be introduced, AI is introduced. If you haven't already made your investments, you're just going to have to think differently. Have 2 robots and start a mechanic shop for cars and motorcycles. Have the robots do all the work. That you could guarantee 100% proficiency and exactness. No employees. Save yourself workman's comp, all kinds of insurances, all kinds of taxes. There's lots of ways to make money, man. It's the people who don't want to own or be anything, don't have the mindset to see through what could be, don't have the vision. All Night Hider, what's up? That's Gandalf's meow. Exactly. Be prepared for as much as possible. Yes, Gandalf, even you must be prepared. 1 mouse is no mice. You must get 2. 2 is 1. You too, Dixie. Oh, cool. Dixie and Gandalf were going at it there. Why don't you get your ass up here all nighter? Uh-oh. Go get that kitty. 95% of them don't like being wet. 5% of them enjoy it. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I hear you. That's Dixie. I hear you, mummies. Yeah, I was giving away non-stock tips and non-stock advice for fictitious scenarios that might possibly could happen that you could invest in with the smallest amounts of money, which I already called and told you about. All-nighter. I'm just reiterating for others to listen to and look into and do their own research and be excited about it as they do their own research, as I was. Yes, Gandalf is the top kitty cat. He's got a very graceful jump too. He can jump about 5 foot with grace. To see him jump is cool. Yeah, and Gandalf's actually not the biggest cat by far. Shadow is twice the size of Gandalf, but yet Gandalf's the top cat. So they don't go by size because Shadow he's thick. He's a thick cat, but he's very passive. He's my solid black kitty. Oh, right on. It's cool to have a cat that likes water, man. Except for you gotta bring a towel and dry them off before you get them inside. And then they usually get dirty because you don't get them all the way dry and you collect all the dirt off your floor. Then you gotta wash them again. I kind of like having cats that don't like being wet now I think about it. Although those big kitties like that picture there are fun to play with if they like you. If they don't like you, they're not so fun to play with. And these guys are fun too. But actually more scary than the big ones, the medium-sized kitties, the 80, 90, 100 pounders. Oh, I imagine she will all-nighter. If I was smart, I'd take those little kitties I have right now, those 8 little ones, and I'd start getting them, washing them, getting them used to it. But you really have to be careful with little ones, man. Because if you wash them and that temperature's off by a couple degrees, it's real quick to cause them hypo or hyperthermia. And you really, 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 really got to watch that. I've had experience with itty bitty babies and outdoor cats, leaving them to fend for themselves in the wintertime. I've actually used warm water to warm them up. Quiet, Harley. So what else does you peoples wants to talk about? You want to talk about July 1st being the first day of the enactment of Basel III, for which I could actually type into Google. See what it says here. Physical assets. See, now I'm getting a different meaning. Last time I looked at what Google says, it's saying here that silver is not seen as a tier 1 asset, while basically tier 3, Basel 3 does classify physical or allocated gold as a tier 1 asset. Same does not apply for silver. Tier 1 assets are those that carry zero risk. Zero risk. How can silver not carry zero risk? Physical allocated silver not carry the same zero risk as a physical allocated gold. So it's counterintuitive. I think they're trying to change up silver and make silver maybe an industrial metal instead of a monetary one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, gentlemen and ladies. Exactly, it's zero risk. And not only that, silver is fractional gold. So if gold is a tier 1 asset, silver has to be a tier 1 asset because silver is fractional gold. According to the Constitution, 245 grains of silver and or 25 grains of gold equal $1. So they're both equivocated to the same financial base at different grain levels, both equaling the same physical note value. So they're both equivocated as a zero risk asset, monetary based asset. Yeah, peer to peer, that's the whole thing. Yeah, and that's where you have a good community, because you'll find things are valued differently. You'll find out that lady down the road that's got all those peaches and makes the greatest peach cobbler. You'll want that for dessert every now and then, and you'll do some lawn work or some mechanical work or electrical work or some roof work. So she'll make you, and you'll do barter like that. If you get to know your community, and that's how you get a good community. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Has been on for 2.5 hours. I appreciate you guys' time. You guys have a great Saturday night. And I'm probably going to do something else like this tomorrow. So it might come up again tomorrow. You guys have a great evening, and thank you very much for showing up.